Born again. Why born again? So we have to go back to the first cause, in beginnings. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27, Yahweh says, "Let us make man in our image according to our likeness." And he made man in his image and according to his likeness. Image is salam, shadow of an original, an outline form of stately appearance. And likeness is dama, losing distinction. In other words, you can't tell the difference between the two, between his creation and himself. Yahweh is light, and he dwells in unapproachable light. And the source of that light is fire. So he made man in his image, the form, stately appearance, outline, and likeness, light. We were light beings. And when light stands in light, you can't distinguish one from the other. But in chapter 3, the serpent deceived Adam's complement of his spirit, his pillar of support, his nikeva, and she ate of the fruit of the tree. When she ate of the fruit of the tree, nothing changed. She was still a light being. And she gave to Adam, who followed her lead in rebelling. And that's when they lost the light, the source of fire that illuminated them so bright you couldn't distinguish them from Yahweh when they were standing in him. And so they ran and just found themselves in the stately appearance only, the outward form. And they tried to hide themselves from the master. And we know from previous upload that Yahweh said, "Behold, the man has become like one out of us, like one away from us," which we know what the us was. It was Yahweh and his messengers, and the one that left them with a third of his messengers was Satan. So he said man had become now like one out of or away from us. So in other words, we became like Satan and took on his nature. Hence, Yeshua saying, when he was speaking several times to his disciples and the Pharisees and the crowd, the multitude, he said, he called them serpents and offspring of vipers. And in John 8:44, he says, "You are of your father, the devil. That's why you cannot hear my words." And when Peter, who'd been with him for 3.5 years, tried to convince him not to go to the cross, but to stay with them, Yeshua looked at him and spoke straight to Satan. And he said, "I rebuke you, Satan. You are not mindful of the things of powers, Yahweh Elohim, but the things of men." So Peter at that time chose the thought that he didn't know was from below and tried to keep Yeshua alive. But Yeshua said, "I rebuke you, Satan." So in John chapter 3, Yeshua said, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of heaven. Unless one is born of the water and the spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. So, born again. In John 3:3, the word in the Hebrew from a couple sources, it says, Yoled ish milma'lah, and another source says, Yoled ish mikor al. the latter one says, a man being born from a source above, unless a man is being born from a source above. That's mikor Allah, sorry. And the other one is Yoled Ish milma'lah. A man being born from above. So born again in the Hebrew is, unless one is being born from above, he cannot see the kingdom. Being born from above. Proverbs 14:14 talks about that a man receiving that from above himself. So being born from above in John 3, and being born of the Spirit, of the water and the Spirit, to enter into the kingdom. That is immersion, baptism. So we have to understand and accept that we are born with the nature of the dragon, that serpent of old called the devil and Satan. We know it's confirmed when we have children. Children are born, no matter how beautiful they are and loving to be embraced, they are born selfish and destructive. And the scriptures in Proverbs give the answer to that proclivity by using the rod. There is no other substitute to tame that nature of Satan in our children except by using the rod. Follow the instructions. It works. So let us recognize our state of affairs, the context of our existence. It's real. And let us choose our thoughts carefully, with understanding, knowing that our thoughts either come from above, being born again, now we know, or from below, the competitor, Satan. And let's be light beings and be a light to the world. In Yeshua's name, because he said we are the light of the world. Shalom. TaNaKh wisdom.